Hello. This is my last clinic in a string of 10 clinics that I did in Europe. I went to Spain, Slovenia, Poland, Italy, Denmark, and here. Save the best for last. So, how many guitar players are here tonight? Oh, cool. Is this a school or? Yeah? That's why it's called the conservatory, right? So does anybody go here? Oh, that's cool. You play guitar? Cool. It's a nice hum. So, you guys know that Dream Theater put out a new album that just came out? Yeah. I'm very excited about that. I think, when did it come out here in Finland? Tuesday, Monday? Oh, Friday. Oh, it came out before the US? Yeah. So, anybody like it?
Yeah.
Cool. You like Jordan Rudess?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He's totally awesome. I love him. So, actually, speaking of Jordan, does everybody know what liquid tension experiment is? Yeah? Okay. Anybody who doesn't know, it's a side project band that I did with Jordan Rudess, who now is in Dream Theater, and Mike Portnoy, who always has been in Dream Theater, and Tony Levin, who you all should know. Anybody not know who Tony Levin is? Okay, I didn't think so. If you don't be embarrassed, it's okay. But anyway, I have some music from Liquid Tension Experiment on a CD, and I'm going to play along to that music. I also have some Dream Theater instrumental stuff. And what I'd also like to do, since this is a clinic and a conservatory, is I want to teach a little bit about what I'm playing in these songs, technically. Okay? So anybody bring paper? Yeah? All right. Good. So if you have any questions about anything that I play or teach, just don't be shy. We're all friends here. Just raise your hand. Okay? All right. I'm going to, I have to get warmed up, so I'll start with something that's not so hard to do. This is my band. Thank you very much. is I want to demonstrate a few of the techniques that I used in those two songs. And if you have any questions, like I said, just let me know. But the first thing is, people always ask me how they can develop their right hand speed and accuracy. So I want to show you some exercises that you can do, and it'll translate into the opening rep of paradigm shift. So first thing you have to do to get that type of power and speed is you have to always pick alternate. That's the rule. Down, up, down, up, down, up. Just like Al Di Meola, right? Or Steve Morris. Who else does that? Yngwie? Right? Does it? He does. Bo Gilbert? Yeah. Yeah.
Is it ever a conscious decision whether you start up or down stroke?
Okay, he wants to know if it's a conscious decision whether I start on an up or a down stroke. Usually I start on a down, but what I do to make sure that I won't have trouble is anything that I practice with a down, I also practice with up. Starting with up. So even like a normal scale, you can start with down, and then start with up. And so hopefully you'll be able to play both equally as strong. Okay? Yeah?
Do we do fast on many strings?
When I do, I'm sorry, I can't hear you. I can't hear you, speak up.
When you alternate thing and
Yeah.
play many strings, do you like tend to keep it strict, or do you when you do a down stroke here a couple of times? How do you like to keep it?
Okay. All right, so he's asking if I keep it strict alternate picking. And the answer is yes. That's the important part to getting that type of sound.
How about skip strings? Like if you skipping strings where you just go to the next string?
If I'm skipping strings, yes, I always use an alternate stroke. That's actually a mistake that people make. If you're playing, let's say there's an odd amount of notes on each string. Let's say there's 3 on each string, right? You'd have down, up, down in the first one. And then on the next string, you'd have up, down, up. So don't go down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down. Don't repeat the down. You can't get anywhere like that. So it has to always be down, up, no matter what. Just pretend that this hand is like a machine, and it just keeps doing this, and it's independent of everything else, right? You gotta work on that first. Right hand stuff. Okay, down, up, down, up, down. That's pretty easy. Down, up, down, up. All right? Like a humming. Somebody once told me it sounds like a hummingbird. I always think it looks like a sewing machine, up and down. Sewing machine doesn't care where you put in the material, it just keeps doing this. Right?
Does your wrist touch the
Bridge?
your wrist? Does
Yeah.
it touch
The bridge? Does my wrist touch the bridge? Yes, it does.
when you fast?
Yeah, I keep my wrist, I keep my hand kind of anchored down. Like you mean my wrist or my palm? Yeah, the palm is like on the bridge, and my pinky is under the pickup. That's why these guitars don't have the mounting ring, because I kind of anchor my pinky there. Yeah. And also, you could mute easily, right, if you just move your hand a little bit. Yeah, usually I don't pick off of the bridge. Okay? Yeah. This is a Hoshino Low Pro Edge. How do you keep it what, so they don't go out of tune? Yeah. That doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. I mean, if you consciously lean on it, it'll do it. But I think this bridge, I don't know if you can see, it's called a Low Pro bridge. It's flat. So you really can't lean on it, unless you really wanted to. I don't know why you'd want to. Unless you were going for that type of sound. So anyway, so like I said, you got to work on the alternate picking. Then you have to add in your left hand, right? Or else you'd be just sitting there doing mandolin songs all day. So the good thing to do, I always just take little tiny sections of a scale. Like, for example, just tiny little pattern, right? Just like that. Play it without the amp so you can hear it. And now, if you listen, I'm accenting every 4 notes. Like that. And you could change the pattern a bit, right? Or you can go like this. You just make up any sort of pattern. Okay. Can you guys hear that up there? Yep, okay. And then, I'll show you how you can turn that into a lick, right? The beginning of paradigm shift is basically, it's this pattern, listen. Okay, so if you work on that technique, then you'll be able to play things like that. That, by the way, that's a drum pattern that Mike came up with, and he said, Matt, put something to that. And I said, yeah, right. So that's what I came up with. Okay, so anyway, that's the opening thing. Any questions about that? Yeah.
How much do you use your arm? Is it just wrist?
How much do I use my arm, he wants to know. I try to just use my wrist. If I tense on my arm, then I kind of lose control. Yeah.
I'm having trouble to find the right height for my guitar.
Mhm.
So I constantly change so I can get the right position for my
Right.
picking hand.
Did you come up with something? Not really? It's different every week. You know, I kind of found that it looks like really totally not rock and roll, but if it's a little higher, it's, you know, it kind of, like, you know, when you're sitting down playing guitar, it's real comfortable, right? So that's pretty much the height of my guitar. It's like as if I was sitting down. Okay? All right, so now I want to show you a different type of lick that doesn't use all this alternate picking. That's a lot easier, but it sounds like it's hard. It's really not hard. And it's the opening, after that little thing in paradigm shift, it's this thing. That thing. So, I'm going to break it down into 2 things, right? It's very, very easy. Here's how it goes. First thing you have to do is master this, okay? It's pretty easy, right? I'm only picking once, and I'm pulling off the second note. Now, if you mute with your right hand, it sounds like you're picking both notes. Okay? So practice that for a while. I used to annoy my brother really badly. Okay, so once you get that, the next thing you have to do, which I think is what makes this riff kind of cool, is I repeat the G string, but on the D string, like this. So I fret it. So first it's open, and then it's fretted. And that's what kind of gives it a cool sound. All right, so then you practice that. So the pick's just going. So it's not like you have to. It's easier. All right, so, and then I just combine the 2 techniques to make a riff. So like this. So here's the pulse. And I just tried to make it groove. All right, that's the lick. And are there any questions about that? No? Yes?
What kind of pick do you use?
I use a Dunlop Jazz 3, which is a very small pick. It has a point, and it's also very hard. You can't bend it. Okay? So it actually makes it easy to pick like this. If you had a big floppy pick that was flopping around, you would, it would stink. Any more questions about that riff? Everybody know how to play it? Yeah? Okay, who wants to demonstrate that? Come on. I gotta see if you're paying attention. This is a school, right? No volunteer? Please? It's really easy. You wanna do it? You sure? All you have to do is this. Come on, you only live once. All right. What's your name? Nolly. How you doing? Okay. So, this is to see if he was paying attention, because I came all the way from America. So, you gotta pay attention. There you go. Probably a little high. Okay. Yeah. There's your volume. Okay, now it starts on the G string, right over there. Pick that one. Right there. Right, pick there and pull off. Right. That's the basic technique. You know what you do wrong?
But I can't do
You
it.
gotta repeat the G. You see you're playing two open Gs, you gotta play one open G and one G there. This one should, yeah. But you have to pull off the first one. Alright, maybe it's not so easy. Well, I think you did a great job. Okay, so next time I ask you if you're paying attention, say no. Okay, thank you. Thank you for doing it. So I'm going to play some more music now, okay? Thank you. That one is called Hell's Kitchen, and that's a Dream Theater instrumental. It's on Falling Into Infinity. On that song, I use a lot of different types of sounds, and instead of talking about technique like we just did, I'd like to talk about guitar sounds and the type of equipment that I use and how I get certain sounds. So anybody who's interested in that sort of thing, this will be fun, and you other people could sleep if you want. Basically, I grew up, I started playing guitar when I was 12, and the bands that I listened to were like Rush and Yes and Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd. The thing about all the guitar players in those bands is that they didn't take a traditional approach. They orchestrated the guitar when they recorded. Like, Yes, Steve Howe would use like mandolins and acoustics and different things, and Alex Lifeson would use 12 strings and have cool chorusing things, and Jimmy Page, of course, would totally orchestrate. And so that's the way I kind of approach guitar when I record. I usually don't just have one sound that goes through the whole thing. So let me show you in that song that I just played how I build a song using these different sounds, okay? First of all, the preamp that I'm using is called a tri-axis. It's a Mesa Boogie programmable preamp. So you can get all the different sounds like clean and chunky and lead. So that's where all the sounds are coming from. So the first thing that I did is I have a clean sound that has a phaser on it. And that's like a real old effect, the phaser. Okay, also on this pickup, this is, I'm putting it in the middle position, which basically it turns on the two center coils. It's a really cool thing to sound, right? That's the sound I'm using in the beginning there. I use the same thing like on Peruvian Skies, right? It's very David Gilmour kind of sound. Okay, so there's a phaser on it, and obviously you heard the delay on it too, right? It's panning. It's kind of cool. Okay, also, I use the wah-wah pedal to shape the sound a little bit as well. So instead of just using the normal, waka 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 waka, I go like this. So it makes it sound a little more psychedelic. I'm just kind of slowly going like this on the wah. Jimmy Page, right? Okay, so that's Crybaby while I done on Crybaby. And then as the song kicks in, I just start arpeggiating the chord progression like this. And that progression repeats over and over. So that when the guitar solo comes in, I use a technique that I learned from listening to a lot of Rush and watching Alex play live, and it's you use a volume pedal, like you see me using. This is an Ernie Ball volume pedal, and basically they're called volume swells. So let me show you how I get that sound. You need a lot of effect, and basically the delay is the most important thing. So this is the delay that's on this sound. Listen. It's going for a while, and it's kind of feeding into itself. All right, that's a Lexicon PCM 70. Also, there's a chorus on the sound. Modulation, TC Electronics 2290, that's a classic. Listen to the note as it sustains. So that's what gives it that kind of wide thing. And then the most important thing is the volume pedal technique. So basically what you do is you have to have the volume pedal on the input to the effects, not after. Okay, if you have it after, when you turn the volume pedal off, all the effects will cut off. It has to be before. So it just cuts the input and the effects hang over like this. All right, that's the key. And then you basically, I'm just picking the note with the pedal off, and then I'm bringing the volume in. Volume swell technique. So in the solo, I use that. Any questions about how I'm getting that sound? No? Okay. And then the next thing I do is I'm playing a tight rhythm with the band. So I use basically a sound that has no effects on it at all. Totally dry. That's the main rhythm sound. It's a mistake that a lot of guys playing hard rock guitar make when they get guitar sounds. They add reverb. Don't do that. Just dry, totally nothing on it. Okay, no reverb, no nothing. And also, not a lot of distortion. It's not super distorted, or else if it's too distorted, it'll be mushy. Okay, so here's the sound. Totally dry, not a lot of gain. And then that's what I'm playing in this part. Okay, so that's the other sound that I use. And then basically, when it gets into the melody at the end, I'm using a basic lead sound, which is a lot of gain, a lot of distortion, not a lot of high end, more smooth sounding, and delay on the sound as well, okay? So that sounds like this. Basically the lead sound that I use. So that's a good example of the way that I would orchestrate the guitar in my band. And so you can see that it's a multi-level approach to recording guitar. And then of course you have to try to do it live, which is a pain, because you got to get all these effects together, but it works out. You can spend some time programming. All right, any questions about guitar sounds or what I'm using? Yeah. Has Brian May been an influence? I mean, yeah, definitely. Music of Queen has been an influence. His sort of delay things that he does and harmonizing and all that has definitely been an influence. Yes. Yes.
About your wah-wah pedal using. Are you using it after the guitar or after the effects?
The wah-wah pedal is the first thing. This chord is going right into the wah-wah. Okay, it's like, it has to be in front of the preamp. It's the only way to use it. Okay? Yes?
Well, you use the tri-axis preamp.
Do I use a tri-axis?
Yeah, I know you use
Yeah?
it. And I have one.
Uh-huh.
I was just curious, in your video, in your rig, there was 2 of them.
Right.
And was it like a backup? Or, sorry, you have, you had this Mark C2 Plus
Right.
also.
Uh-huh.
So do you use them in the effects loop of the tri-axis at the
Okay.
same time or what?
Basically, I use a lot of different, this is like a smaller rig, but in my rig for Dream Theater, I try to take a lot of heads on the road, and also tri-axis, but I use an amp switcher. Mesa Boogie makes an amp switcher, it's buffered. And you know, you can have, with the amp switcher, you can have 2 amps on at the same time. So that's what I was doing with the tri-axis, like I'd have one on clean and one on, you know, some sort of distorted sound. I was just combining it. Okay? Excuse me, I have a cold, sorry. Yeah.
That's something that you said, like, you know, that's happening. Some guitars tend to put their hand above the board like that.
Yeah?
Instead of just playing it normally. So, what's the difference with that?
You mean like this?
Yeah, some people do that.
That's just like show-off stuff.
That's a tapping exercise. With your finger as opposed to kick.
You mean like this?
Yeah.
I don't do a lot of that, but one of the things that I find that I kind of do is like a pedal tone type thing where the top note stays the same, and I play some sort of melody, you know, like that. Also, something I might do is I do like a double tap, like something like that. All right, I don't really do a lot of that type of thing.
So you got 24 frets in the guitar?
Yes, this is 24 frets on this guitar.
The same thing that you just did with the left hand, when you your right hand a bit higher, and just pull the 24th fret, then doesn't that like make it sound there's no rule, there's only you just stick to when you're doing that sound effect.
You mean, I don't think there's any rule, really. I mean, whatever sound you're going for. You mean, does it have to be a certain distance? No, I mean, just whatever interval you want to create, you know? Let's say you're in the key of E minor, and you had your, I mean, if there's any rule, if you want to stay in the key, you got to play the notes that are in the key. All right, so here's the scale. And if you have the top note being the root, E, right, but you can change anything, right? Yeah. It's been done before, hasn't it? Too many times. Okay, any more questions about equipment or sounds? Yeah.
Two questions. First of all, where do you have the volume pedal located in the signal path? Is it after the preamp?
Yeah, the volume pedal is after the preamp, but it's before the effects. So if I have the volume pedal low, there's still as much gain as if it's high. So it's not like volume pop.
Do you do any volume swells with pop? If you want to have a lower gain, do you have the preamp gain behind the expression?
Actually, I could do both. If I had the volume pedal, even if it was low volume, I could still, you know, do this with a slightly different sound. Thank you. Everybody sleeping now? A little lullaby song there. The first one was called Osmosis, and you can really hear Tony Levin there on the bass. And the second one was called State of Grace, and the piano there was Jordan Rudess, who, as you can see, is pretty damn good. What I'd like to talk about regarding the last song in particular is, once again, something that's not really too technical, but to me is equally as important. So far we talked about technique and picking and stuff, and we talked about sounds. Now the other thing with electric guitar is phrasing, improvising, phrasing, playing with feeling, so to speak. Okay, because electric guitar is very, very cool because you can really manipulate the guitar, because you can bend the strings and you have all this distortion and effects and things, and I like it. I think, I mean, piano, you play the note and it's just the note, right? I mean, it takes a lot to play piano, but you kind of, unless you have a synthesizer, you can't really change it. Guitar is very dangerous because if you press too hard or if you bend a little, it sounds awful, doesn't it? Yes, it does. You've all heard those kids in the music store. It can sound very bad. So the other thing is, basically what I'm trying to say is you have to have control over the guitar. Also, if you're playing with a lot of distortion and cabinets, you have to have control over the feedback, and you have to sort of tame the beast, as they say, and make it do what you want it to do. So I want to show you the elements of phrasing that I use, okay? If I were just to play the melody to that last song without any technique, the notes would be right and the rhythm would be right, but it wouldn't sound right. Listen. Doesn't sound good, right? No. It's the melody, but there's nothing to it. So here are the things that I would add to it to make it sound better. First of all, vibrato, okay? Just moving the note. And in a song like that, you want to do it kind of subtly. You don't have to go. You can do that if you're like really wailing with a wah. That sounds good. I wouldn't do that. You could do it, but people would think you were crazy. All right, so you want to do a subtle vibrato when you're playing something melodic like that. Okay, also, sliding into notes, okay? I slide from a lower note up to a higher note, and from a higher note down to a lower note. So that sounds like this. I don't know if you can see also, but when I'm doing the vibrato, I'm holding the other strings so they don't ring out. That's the total trick you gotta do. Because if you don't, it sounds like this. You can do Hendrix like that though. That's the wrong note. What's the note? You guys know what the note is? That starts that song? I always thought it was that. It's not that. Oh, what else? F sharp. F sharp? That's the one? Okay. Where's it down here? Yeah, this one? On the G string? Over here? Ah. Thank you very much. So anyway, Jimi Hendrix didn't hold his strings down. But nobody thought that was too bad. Anyway, I'm holding the strings that are around the note that I'm playing so they don't ring out. Also, bending notes is is really cool. But you have to bend in tune, or else it really sounds horrible. It could sound like this. I'm telling you, it's a very dangerous instrument. If you put it in the wrong hands, it'll be real evil. So you have to bend in tune, all right? Something that I used to do to practice bending in tune is I would play a note and then play a note lower than it and bend up to it and try to match the tone like this. Okay, so that's a good thing to do. And one more thing that I'm doing to make this expressive is I'm changing the pickups all the time, and I'm also changing the volume level, and I'm changing where I pick on the neck. So those are all the things that manipulate the tone, okay? And it could build too. So, for example, I might start off with the volume really low on the bridge pickup, like this. That's a cool thing to do also, kind of mess around with that as you're playing. And, you know, it's a far cry from the first thing I did, which was very boring. Okay, any questions about that type of thing? They're all elements of phrasing, that's what I call it. So you want to work on that. Questions? Yes?
Have you ever applied a classical vibrato technique?
Classical vibrato technique. Yeah, sometimes. It's real subtle. If you put your finger on the fret and pull the string that way, it goes flat. Sharp, sharp. And if you push the string that way, it goes flat. You go back and forth. Do it fast like a violin. I don't do that too often, but it does sound cool. Maybe I should do it. What's that?
Do you like Larry Calvin?
Yeah, I love Larry Carlton. That's what he does, huh? All right, I'm going to do it now. I like Larry Carlton. Okay, any other questions? Yeah.
Do you think your choice of strings affects your sound?
Do I think the choice of strings affects the sound? I mean, I don't know too much about strings. It must. You know, I bet it does. But actually, we were just talking before about Ernie Ball and Diodario, and I mean, I don't really notice the difference. I use Ernie Ball strings. But yeah, put it this way, the gauge definitely changes. I use 10 through 46. They're a little heavier. It sounds fuller, you know, warmer, I think, than real thin strings. I guess if they were using like crappy metal, or it would probably sound bad. Anybody know that? Any string experts? Okay, I'm going to play another song, and forget how it goes.
Going home tomorrow, so okay.
Vibratomania. It's on the Dream Theater Awake CD. There's something in that song, just to kind of end with a technical thing, because I only have one more song left to play. But I want to show you this thing that I'm playing that people ask me a lot. Basically, it's a pattern that you have to just get the feel of the pattern and then apply it to a chord progression. So, this is a good example of, somebody asked if you repeat a stroke ever, or if you just do alternate. So this is a good example of where you might mess up and repeat a stroke. The reason is because you have 5 notes on one string, so it's going to be odd, right? Down, up, down. Then the next string that you go to has to be an up, right? Don't go down, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down. People make that mistake. So keep it alternate, and here's the pattern like this. All right, so. And just get that right hand going. You can practice like little sections of it at a time. All right, and then I do the same thing, but I skip a string, but I keep the pattern the same, like this. So I'm skipping the G string. But in my head, I'm still thinking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. So if you combine the two, it sounds like this. And then I skip down also. I skip the D string, and I do this. So the whole thing is. Then I just do that same technique and I follow the chord progression that's in that song. So if you hear, the pattern stays the same. Once you master the pattern, you're set. You just have to change the note to the left hand. So here's the whole thing. And that's it. Any questions about that? It's a good exercise, good for picking. Yeah.
Do you change much things when you're on the road?
You mean like in the songs and the parts?
Yes. When you're recording it and you're on the road. Because I've seen you about 3 times after that away record. And when there's that classical section, you know, you do before that very fast string scheme. And the original record, you slide up the first note every time, but now you do that.
I think I know what you mean. Yeah, sometimes
You play safe or something like that.
I change it so it's easier. Yeah, sometimes I recorded something one way, and I always try to play it live, and I can never get it. And then one day it comes to me, oh, wait, I'm playing. You know, if I just change this, I can do it. So yeah, I change things around sometimes. Yes. Say that one more time.
When you like improvising solos, for instance,
Uh-huh.
do you tend to play across the chord, or do you like scales more?
When I'm improvising, I try to think of the notes that are in the key. So I try to look at the neck as a whole. However, I do have like certain patterns and things that are derived around scales if I want to do like a run or something. Yeah. So it's kind of a combination.
When you write songs in the studio, about what's good for the song, or do you also have in mind how it would work out live, or whether you can pull it up after?
That's a good question. Actually, that's one of the things that, to me, helps me grow as a player. Because basically in the studio, I do whatever. If somebody has to like hold my strings down while I play the thing, I'll get it. Somehow I'll get it. But then the whole challenge is live. So after you practice it, and then you can do it, you kind of reach another level. All of a sudden, you can play something. Like that passage I just played for you, I couldn't do that. When we first wrote it, it was like, sounded like this. But I got it in the studio, I sat there doing it, and now I can play it because I've done it over and over. So that's kind of my method too. What's that?
How do you work that out? Do you play the lead? Is the keyboard player kind of, if he's like following exactly, it's minding what you're playing, or following exactly what you're playing, does he follow you, or do you follow him?
He's asking when I double leads with keyboards, who follows one another. It kind of depends on the part. If it's a guitar written and guitar driven part, then maybe I'll record it first. And if it's the opposite, if it's something that's more comfortable on the keyboards, then Jordan will record it first and I'll match him.
When you're playing live, if you've got something in a song that where both keyboards and keyboard and guitar plays the same thing, and it's like pretty fast, pretty complex. What I mean then is it kind of like you play it, keyboard player follows it that way, or is it vice versa? And if you follow the keyboard player, how do you keep the time of that? Is it notes tend to get a bit less?
Yeah.
Can't hear it all the time, so.
Well, that's the type of thing that if you really work on precision, then that type of stuff sounds great. So Jordan is very, very accurate when he plays, very, very clean. I try to do the same. I always practice with a metronome or a drum machine. And in Dream Theater, the guitar and the drums are very, very tight if you listen to all the rhythms and stuff. So that sort of combination, the real rhythmical, precise thought process, and not a lot of effects, will make it sound tight. And basically, we're just following the pulse of the song. And thank you for coming down. You guys actually had a lot of very cool questions, very interesting questions. And we're going to, we have one more question. Okay, sorry.
Okay.
Okay.
Can you show us the intro chords to follow years? I have seen various transcriptions of it, and they also vary a little bit.
The intro chords.
Yes.
How's it go?
It doesn't really much.
Hold on, I have to think about it. He's asking how I keep up with all the odd time signatures and changes and stuff like that. You know, when you listen to music for the first time that's odd, it kind of hits you like, whoa, you know, what is that? But you got to remember, we're playing like we wrote it, so we know what's behind it, and we're just thinking of all the divisions and rhythms and stuff. And you know, if it has to be mathematical, if we're thinking 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2. After a while, it just becomes like, you know, after playing it so much, you do it by feel. But it's something that might sound odd and complicated. There is a method. There is something that we're thinking of behind, so it's not as complicated to play as it might sound.
Another question. We all know that you are a great guitar player. What are your weaknesses?
What are my weaknesses? You mean like chocolate or ice cream? As a guitar player, what are my weaknesses? I don't have a lot of, let's see, I can't play slide too well. I keep trying to play slide, and I learn from like these slide guys, and it never sounds right when I do it. And there's also a lot of different guitar styles that I don't have experience with, like classical and bluegrass, string picking, flamenco, and all these crazy things. So if I'd say there was a weakness, it would be that I'm a little one-sided, kind of just electric. So I'd like to expand my experience with that. I need to find acoustic. Okay. All right, I have one more song left. Thank you very much, like I said, for coming down. And we have one more question. Okay.
Could you play the solo for the old version of Change of Seasons from '93?
Can I play the solo from that? You think I actually remember that? These guys have been playing me something from 1993. I don't even remember how to play Pull Me Under. What do you think? No. I wish I could, but I really don't remember it. Sorry. Okay, I do remember the next song, so I'll play that. And thank you very much. And it's good to see you. We're going to be on tour for this record in November. We're not coming here yet, though, but we will in 2000. Okay, so thank you very much.